Hey, you ever walk into a place you thought you knew inside out, only to realize it's hiding something ugly? That's what happened to me, James Carter, CEO of Carter's Corner Stores, when I slipped into one of my own shops in Cleveland, Ohio, baseball cap pulled low, nobody knowing who I was. I'm talking no suit, no fancy watch, just a guy named Eddie looking like he's down on his luck, trying to blend in with the late-night shoppers and the fluorescent hum of the aisles. I wasn't there for a casual stroll, though something felt off. Corporate had been getting these glowing reports from this store, perfect numbers, happy employees, 5-star Yelp reviews, the works. But I'd heard whispers, little red flags in emails from HR, stuff about high turnover that didn't add up. So, I went in undercover, figuring I'd poke around, see what was what. Nothing could have prepared me for what I found. Halfway through the store, past the cereal aisle, I heard it sobbing, raw and heavy, coming from the employee break room. Not just crying, but the kind of sound that makes your gut twist, like someone's whole world is crumbling. I crept closer, saw a name tag on the floor, scratched up and smudged Elena Torres, custodial staff. Through the crack in the door, I could hear her, choking back tears, muttering to herself about bills, a kid, and no way out. My heart sank. This wasn't the shiny, happy store I'd been sold in those reports. Something was wrong, real wrong, and standing there, I felt this chill, like, if this was happening right under my nose, what else had I been blind to? That moment, that sound of Elena's despair, it flipped a switch and might wasn't just about checking boxes anymore. It was personal. I knocked softly. Hey, you okay in there? The crying stopped, like she'd been caught. A shaky voice came back. I'm fine, just. Give me a sec. But she wasn't fine, not even close. When Elena stepped out, she was small, maybe mid-40s, her janitor's uniform wrinkled, eyes puffy and red. Her hands shook as she grabbed that name tag, fumbling to pin it back on. I could see her palms, rough and cracked from cleaning chemicals, the kind of wear that tells you someone's been grinding for years. Sorry, she mumbled, avoiding my eyes. I gotta get back to work. I introduced myself as Eddie, said I was new, just started that day. She looked at me, sizing me up, like she was wondering if I was another problem she'd have to deal with. I'm Elena, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Been here 4 years. I asked what was going on, keeping it gentle, and her shoulders slumped, like the weight of the world was pressing down. It's everything, she said. My son, Mateo, he's got asthma. Bad. Needs a specialist, but the insurance. They keep saying I don't qualify. And the hours, she pointed at a bulletin board plastered with schedules, a mess of scribbles and crossouts. Her name was barely there. 15 hours one week, 30 the next, then back to 10. How do you even plan your life like that? I asked, and she just shook her head. You don't. She told me about Rick Donovan, the store manager, the guy running this place like his own little kingdom. According to her, Rick was behind the chaos-gutting hours, docking pay for no reason, and dangling threats like, plenty of people would kill for your job. I glanced at the schedule again, and my stomach turned. This wasn't just sloppy management. It was deliberate, like someone was toying with people's lives. Elena whispered, it's not just me. There's Jamal in sporting goods, Lisa at the register's theory, all scared to say anything. I could see it in her eyes, the fear, but also this quiet strength, like she was holding it together for Mateo, no matter what. That night, I stuck around, watching, listening. I saw Elena limp slightly as she mopped, probably from years on her feet with no support. The company handbook promised things like anti-fatigue mats, but I didn't see a single one. By 6 a.m., Rick swaggered in, all slicked back hair and fake charm, his manager badge gleaming like he thought it made him untouchable. He zeroed in on Elena right away, barking, Torres, this floor's a mess. What have you been doing all night? The tiles were so clean I could see my reflection, but Elena just nodded. I'll go over it again, Mr. Donovan. His sneer made my fists clench. Yeah, You better, or maybe you're not cut out for this. I followed them to his office, pretending to stock shelves nearby, and caught snippets through the door. Rick was tearing into her. You're lucky I keep you on, Torres, with that attitude. I could hear Elena's voice, small but steady. I just need steady hours, Mr. Donovan, for my son. He laughed. Actually laughed. Your kid's not my problem. Keep whining, and you'll be out the door. I pulled out my phone, hit record, and caught every word. That was my first piece of evidence, and man, it lit a fire in me. The next night, I came back as Eddie, ready to dig deeper. Rick hired me on the spot for the night shift, probably because he saw desperate written all over my fake resume. You'll work with Torres, he said, smirking, but don't let her drag you down with her sob stories. I nodded, playing along, but inside I was seething. Working alongside Elena, I saw the real grind, cleaning an entire 50,000 square foot store with one mop, one bucket, and a bottle of cleaner so diluted it barely worked. She told me Rick had slashed the supply budget, said they were wasting product. I knew better. Corporate sent plenty of cash for supplies, so where was it going? Around 1 a.m., Rick showed up, clipboard in hand, and announced, corporate's cracking down on labor costs, so we're cutting night staff to 1. Torres, you're it. Same workload, same hours. Elena's face went pale. Mr. Donovan, one person can't, he cut her off. Then I'll find someone who can. I watched her slump against a counter, whispering, Mateo's next appointment is in 2 weeks. I need this job. I wanted to scream, but I had to stay in character. Then I saw my chance. Rick's office door was cracked open, and I caught him at his computer, messing with the scheduling system. He was shaving hours off Elena, Jamal, Lisa, and others, funneling them to a ghost employee, R. Donovan Jr., probably his cousin or some fake account he controlled. Every stolen hour was money in his pocket. Worse, he pulled up Elena's file and switched her status to part-time ineligible, wiping out her shot at insurance, even though she'd been full-time for years. I recorded it all, my hands shaking with rage, but I kept quiet, biding my time. By 4 a.m., I was hauling pallets alone, work meant for a team, while Rick watched, smirking, like he got off on making people suffer. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about money for him. It was control, power, the thrill of breaking people down. Elena was barely standing, her limp worse, her face gray from exhaustion. I asked, when's the last time you saw a doctor? She laughed, bitter. Doctors are for people with insurance, Eddie. The final straw came at 5:30 a.m. Rick's phone rang, same ringtone every half hour, like clockwork. I slipped near his office, trash bin in hand as a cover, and recorded him talking to some guy, probably another manager in on the scam. Yeah, Torres is down to 10 hours next week, he said, chuckling. She'll take it. Her kid's sick. She's got no choice. He bragged about fake performance reviews, blaming employees for attitude to justify cuts, and admitted to pocketing thousands through his fake account. Nobody's going to believe a janitor over me, he said. Corporate eats this efficiency crap up. I had him every word, every crime, locked in my phone. That afternoon, I came back, still as Eddie, but ready to end this. Rick was holding court at a staff meeting, 20 employees gathered, looking beat down. He was waving a clipboard, saying, new rule. Any inventory mistakes come out of your paychecks, lost stock, wrong counts, all of it. That was illegal, and he knew it, but he locked eyes with Elena, daring her to speak. I couldn't take it anymore. I stepped forward. Rick, I think you're the one making mistakes here. He sneered. What's that, Eddie? Got a problem. I pulled out my phone, hit play, and let his voice fill the room, his confession about stealing hours, screwing over Elena, all of it. The employees froze, jaws dropped, as Rick's face went white. What the hell is this? He sputtered. I kept going. That's you. Last night. Explaining how you've been robbing these people blind. The crowd started murmuring, anger building. Elena's hand covered her mouth. tears in her eyes as she heard him mock her son's illness. Rick tried to bluff. That's fake. You're done, Eddie. But I was done playing. I pulled off my cap, tossed my real badge on the counter. James Carter, CEO, Carter's Corner Stores. The room went dead silent, like the air got sucked out. I'm not Eddie, I said, staring Rick down. And you're not just fired, you're going to jail. Security rolled in. I'd called that morning and grabbed Rick. He was yelling, "You can't prove anything." I leaned in close. I've got your voice, your computer logs, photos of this dump you've been running. You're done. As they dragged him out, past the registers he'd terrorized, past customers who stopped to stare, I turned to the employees. They looked shell-shocked, like they couldn't believe this was real. Elena spoke first, voice trembling. You're the owner. I nodded. And I'm sorry. I built this company to take care of people, not break them. I let you down, but we're fixing this, starting now. I called in our HR chief, Karen Wells, who showed up with a team and laptops, ready to dig into every file Rick had touched. Within an hour, we had answers. Elena was owed $18,000 in stolen wages, plus full-time benefits she'd been denied for years. Karen looked at her. As of today, you're full-time permanent. Insurance starts now, retroactive to your hire date. Elena's legs gave out, and I caught her arm as she whispered, Mateo's gonna be okay. Karen added, his specialist visits are covered, and your back pay's coming in 48 hours. The room erupted in gasps, some cheers, a few tears. I wasn't done. I turned to Lisa, the cashier, 6 months pregnant and terrified of losing her job. Lisa, you're on paid maternity leave, full salary, full benefits, your spot's waiting when you're ready. Her eyes went wide, hand on her belly. Then Jamal, who'd been stuck in sporting goods forever. How about assistant manager? You know this store better than anyone. His clipboard hit the floor, and he just stared. Me? For real. Then I looked at Elena, still clutching her name tag like it was a lifeline. Elena, I want you to run this store. The room went quiet again. She shook her head. I'm just a janitor. I can't. I cut her off. You've been running this place in your own way for years, keeping it together despite Rick. You know what these people need. Starting salaries $70,000, plus training, bonuses tied to how well you treat your team. She blinked, like the number didn't compute, but I saw something shift in Hera's spark of belief. I laid out the big changes. An employee council at every store, elected by you, reporting straight to me. No fear of retaliation. I handed Elena my card. My cell's on there. Anyone messes with you, you call me. We found Rick's scheme wasn't just here for other stores had managers pulling the same crap. They're all gone now, facing charges, and we're paying back every cent they stole. 3 weeks later, I walked back into that store, and it was like stepping into a different world. The break room was alive with laughter, real laughter, not the fake stuff you do to keep the boss off your back. Jamal was training new hires, a shiny assistant manager badge on his shirt, teaching them to take their time, get it right. Lisa, now 7 months along, was at the registers, smiling, no longer hiding her pregnancy. And Elena? She was in the office, rocking a blazer, poring over reports like she'd been born for it. Employee satisfaction was through the roof, profits up 25%, because when people aren't scared, they actually care about their work. Elena pulled me aside. Mateo's doing great. Surgery went perfect. He's running around like a normal kid now. Her smile was everything. Then she got serious, showed me a folder. I've been talking to other retail workers, James. What Rick did, it's everywhere: wage theft, intimidation, all of it. I think we can do something bigger, like a certification for fair workplaces, verified by employees, not suits. I told her to write it up, full proposal, and I'd back it. She was already changing the game. 6 months later, I was at a retail conference in Chicago, standing in front of 1,000 execs, telling this story. I showed them Elena's old security footage, her crying in that break room, then a photo of her now, running her store like a pro. This is what happens when you listen, I said, not to boardroom numbers, but to the people on the ground. Our fair workplace certifications taken off, 15 chains signed on, $3 million recovered for workers, even sparked new labor laws. But it's not about the numbers. It's about Elena, Mateo, Jamal, Lisa, people who reminded me why I started this company. Here's the thing. There's an Elena in every workplace, someone struggling, hoping someone with power will notice. I almost didn't. I could have stayed in my office, trusted those shiny reports, and let Rick keep breaking people. But I knocked on that door, and it changed everything. So what about you? When's the last time you really looked at the people around you? The ones who can't afford to speak up? What's stopping you from asking, "You okay?" Because the truth might be uglier than you think, but fixing it, that's where the real work starts. Drop a comment. Tell me what's the worst thing you've seen at a job, and what would you do if you had the power to fix it? Share this if you've ever felt invisible at work, or if you know someone who needs to hear this. Let's keep this conversation going, because there's a lot more Elenas out there, and they're counting on us.